I'm excited about mostly is that it's never been an easier time to start, launch, and publish your podcast. This is literally the setup and my workflow I'm sharing with you today that records, streams, and repurposes itself all with one tool. I think of a motto with 3 words: attract, automate, and profit.
Get ready to be seen here, there, and every freaking where. Welcome to the AI and Chill podcast with your host, CoachDeb.
This is set up to be one of the funnest Wednesday night weeklies, seriously.
Oh,
I don't even know if they're ready.
all right. I think everyone's in. Happy Wednesday, Ignite fam. And welcome to this week's Ignite Weekly. So glad to have you with us today. Now, if you've ever thought, I wish creating content was easier, or felt like you needed a producer, an editor, and a whole team just to launch a podcast or live stream, today's session is for you. We're excited to have CoachDeb with us today for a session titled Fire Your Producer, the setup that records, streams, and repurposes itself. CoachDeb is a true pioneer in social media marketing. She wrote the first book on social media marketing in 2006 and the first book on Twitter in 2008. After spending 2 decades producing content for some of the world's top speakers and brands, she's now teaching business owners how to become their own video producers using tools that cost a fraction of what a traditional production team would. So without further ado, Coach Deb, thank you for being here with us today. The spotlight is yours.
Aloha. Thank you, Trisha. Always love seeing the 3 of you, Russell and Angie and Trisha. And thanks for the intro and my Ignite family. It's been a while. It's been a minute. And when Emma asked me to present today, and she said, well, what's your favorite topic that is the go-to? And I said, well, there's an app that is helping everyone basically replace me as their producer. So this is where we live fire me, fire your producer, fire whoever you're working with for video editing and producing your show, because now you can basically produce your own show, which is really exciting. I think for every one of you learning AI in Ignite right now, you can agree that AI is transforming every industry, from legal profession to even contractors. I was talking to my contractor recently. We're doing, so Russell and Angie, when you're back, we're doing the outdoor kitchen. So I was talking to him and he goes, well, I don't have the CAD software, but my buddy does. We'll have to throw some dollars. I said, well, actually, we can use ChatGPT for that. And he's like, that's another job lost, right? So there's a lot of high paying jobs we're seeing. It's not just the low paying little entry level, it's high paying jobs. And my philosophy is we need to just embrace it, see what the future is, and then pivot accordingly. So I made that pivot about 5 years ago when I started seeing some of these apps that were not only replacing my video editor, but doing a better job. Now I still have a human team for some things. There's still some things that I really want tweaked. And if you're a control freak, you'll still want some things that you have a video editor, but you're talking about maybe 8 hours a week versus 40 hours a week that you would need. So when I say, yeah, fire your producer, yes. Is it a luxury to have a producer behind the scenes, switching buttons, doing all these things? Sure. But what I'm excited about mostly is that it's never been an easier time to start, launch, and publish your podcast because of the apps and the AI technology that's around. I now will play with my AI. I'll set things up. It works in the background. And then I go and watch my favorite reality series, Survivor, and lately The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and Vanderpump Villa. Let me see how many people are reality show watchers. And at the end of the day, I never had time for any of this, TV in general, movies, because I was always doing the thing. So if anything, this is going to shortcut your work so that you can go to the beach, like Russell was just talking about. It's a summer, so we get to enjoy it. I was never able to do these things because I was constantly in the office working my buttocks off. And now you don't have to. So whether it's someone that you have on your team that you fire, or whether it's yourself that you get to say, all right, I'm going to work literally an hour a day and then let AI do the rest. That's the transformation we've been seeing. That's what we saw with our video production company. So I recently closed down First Minute Media, which was the video production company that ran other people's. And now I'm literally using all of these AI tools and pretty much don't have a team other than maybe 2 to 3 people versus say a dozen or more people. So that's what's exciting. I'm going to share my slides, and I'm actually going to share a secret with you when you stay to the end, several things with AI as well, in addition to the apps that I'm using that, again, have replaced myself. So let me share my screen, but everyone sees my screen now? All good? Yep. Okay. This is literally the setup and my workflow I'm sharing with you today that records, streams, and repurposes itself all with one tool. No platform, no producer, no editor, and my favorite as a coach, no excuses. So how many people before today or today right now said, well, I'd like to start a podcast? And maybe you said this more than once, maybe 10 years ago, maybe when it first started on the scene, 2006. And here's the other thing. But yes, in the comment, yes, or put podcast in the comments. And here's the other thing is for those of you who go, oh, I don't know about a podcast. Well, at the end of the day, if you're doing any type of video online and you're uploading it to YouTube, you have a podcast, especially if it's a series. The difference between it being a social video or a video long form and a podcast is a podcast typically has a theme. It has a formula. It has a format that it follows that's predictable, that people follow again and again and over. And that's what gets them subscribing to your channel. However, if you simply do a few tutorial videos, maybe you do some explainer videos, maybe you do some AI videos and you're uploading it to your YouTube, guess what? You have a podcast. If you don't have a YouTube channel right now and you said, well, I've wanted to set this up, but things keep thwarting your mission. Tell me what maybe excuses or reasons you've had for not starting a podcast channel yet. Maybe it's technology. Write that in the comment, technology. Maybe it's not having a producer. Maybe it's not having the team. Maybe, and what I've heard over and over again is maybe it's not having a budget that you can afford to hire somebody to run your show. So put budget, tech, what is it? Maybe it's fear of, I don't know what to say. So that's also possible. But at the end of the day, the real bottleneck for what I've noticed is it's not the mic, it's not the topic, it's not even the confidence for some of you, it's the producer. And for the past 20 years, I was that expensive producer. Produced for Larry King, Les Brown, Tony Robbins, on and on and on. Mike Filsaime. Let's see, all the names you probably all know. And I was not cheap, right? So for other people who said, oh, I want to do what they're doing, well, they'd have to either go into a professional studio, they'd have to hire an expensive producer like me. I was $25,000 a month, and that was not something that the average small business owner had. And here's what is exciting is in this presentation, I'm about to make myself completely unnecessary to you in the next 60 minutes. So this, I believe, is the greatest time in history to start a podcast. And everyone right now is making content. So here's how I look at it. If you want to be competitive with AEO, how many people in Ignite know all about AEO, right? Go ahead, say AEO in the comments. You know that if you're not producing content, if you're not uploading videos, if you're not being found online, that the LLM engines are recognizing you will not be recommended a year from now. And that's what we want to prevent. So I'm trying to encourage all of my clients, all of my subscribers, all of my friends to start a podcast, AKA a video channel. And now you can. So the gap is closing, and we want to make sure we're ready for the AI search engines, right? We know people don't really Google anymore. People barely go to YouTube to ask questions. In fact, just today, we were having an issue with Google. Actually, technically now it was Notebook LM, and now it's called Gemini Notebook. How many familiar with that change? Gemini Notebook. Same thing as Notebook LM. Well, someone had sent me a file, and it was basically a summary Notebook LM, or now Gemini Notebook, of a recent podcast I upload. And it was so good. And it was all AI generated that I thought, I'm going to turn this into a video and upload it as a supplement to my AI and Chill podcast show. However, we were having issues with the editing team that they couldn't download it from her notebook. She had to do a few settings. It was a little different than G Drive. And instead of going to YouTube where I normally went to get answers to my questions, what did I do? Who can predict it? I went to ChatGPT. I'll either go to Claude, which has been my favorite these days, or Chat to get my answers. So that's what you're going to do when you're providing the search engines your videos, and they could be YouTube, they could be Facebook, they could be uploaded in a number of places, Instagram, or as the cool kids call it, the gram, right? No matter where it is, this software will get it there. It will get it to all of the platforms that you want to be on and dominate without it taking a ton of time. So right now you want to think about the trust gap, right? So anyone that generates 1,000 posts before lunch, so that trust migrates, you're going to have the first mover's advantage. You're also going to have the content advantage. And the only way that you can be competitive in the future is using AI and using the software. So that's where your voice is becoming the most expensive thing on the internet. That's the trust gap. Now, we'll be creating digital clones. You might even have an avatar that might have your voice, but it's an avatar. So say you don't like being on video, cool. You can have a digital clone. So all of these things you can do, but at the end of the day, if you're really trying to make that human connection one-to-one and increase trust so that they hire you, video and podcasting is the way to do it. I think of a motto with 3 words: attract, automate, and profit. That's the formula that you want to think about. You're attracting, then you're automating so that you can attract on steroids, and then you profit because you're attracting the leads and the clients. So think about the sales calls. I don't know how many people have a sales team or you're making sales calls yourself, but if you can instead upload a podcast instead of having one-on-one sales calls, this is what I've been doing for decades. I haven't had to have sales calls because people were already sold because they saw one of my videos. That's what we want for you. So think about the podcast. You upload, say it's 40 minutes. And by the way, I think about this as a Netflix and chill way. So say you upload, or say you record a 45-minute podcast. I like to upload them in 3 different segments, 15 minutes a piece, or 6 segments, 7 minutes a piece, and it's bingeable. Think of it like a Netflix series. We were just talking about reality shows, right? That's what it's all about. It leaves them hanging. It teaches a concept. It gets them excited. And then it creates an open loop at the end so that they watch the next episode. The reason I think the secret about this bingeable content format on YouTube works to get you more views, because YouTube isn't giving people the long form views like they used to, unless they're seeing that people watching more than one piece of content anytime should they go to your channel. So if they watch 7 pieces of content or 5 pieces of content or even 3 pieces of content every time they visit your channel or see one of your videos, YouTube goes, oh, they're staying on our platform. And then it wants to reward you. And then it rewards you with views and with links to your podcast, to your video. In other words, it'll start showing your video in the feed of people that aren't yet your subscribers. By the way, another really cool secret these days is subscribers is no longer the important thing on YouTube. That's also nice because YouTube is they're basically competing with TikTok. So they're trying to get the views on their platform. So they're trying to show your shorts. And the easiest way to make shorts is create long form, use Opus Clip to blast out all of your shorts and publish it. So I think one of the last times we did either an AI morning club or an Ignite call, we talked all about Opus. You can use this in conjunction with Opus. I still love Opus, but this software that we're about to talk about will do it all. It'll basically replace Opus. However, I think there still is a need, especially once you publish to YouTube, to get Opus out there. But you want to be using these AI apps and AI technology to beat your competitors as far as getting more content out than everybody else. Here we go. Okay. So this is the guest backdoor. I think of this as, I don't know how many people have gotten a spam today, either in your email, in your DMs, in your text messages, where people are like, hey, I'd love to work with you, right? It's spam. Whereas instead, say you're trying to reach someone, we think of this as the guest backdoor, where you cold pitch to your dream client, right? Instead of cold pitching where that gets ignored, you tell them you want to feature them on your show. I have people doing this over and over again, and that's how they get clients, especially if they're producing content for them, especially if they're doing something that they supply or they fill a need and they supply a service that their ideal client wants. So that's what we call the guest backdoor. Now, the barrier didn't lower, it vanished. So it used to take a studio, a producer, an editor, a clips person, a scheduler, thousands of dollars a month, thousands of hours per month. And that's why your competitors don't have a show. That's why maybe you don't have a show, because it was so cumbersome to do all this. Now, one platform, one login, one person, you can produce it, you can get it published and everything. And now the window where the one with the show still feels rare in your industry, but that's open right now. And it closes the second everyone figures it out. So that's why you want to jump on it. And people are starting to hear about this. I've been talking about this for many years. Angie knows about it. We used it 5-6 years ago. We actually used it so long. We used it for 2 weeks straight, produced 8.8 million in sales, didn't glitch once, not once. And that's why I love this piece of software. There's a lot of competitors now that are coming out, but this software in particular, I love. So there's option A. So think of the next year, same year, 2 different outcomes, you versus your competitor. Option A, 50 episodes. So you're basically, if you are doing the math, you're taking 2 weeks off. You go to Italy, you go to Spain, wherever you want to go. You go to Miami and you play that. You're driving that awesome car that Angie was in, right? 52 episodes, 1 a week, except for 2, right? So you took 2 weeks off. So 50 episodes, and you have a searchable library that AI can index you and serve up in the search engines, right? It's basically a pipeline. It's also a stream of attraction videos that clients find you and hire you. Then there's an option B, which many of you have been doing for the past 5 years since we've been talking about this, which is, oh, I should start a podcast. But you don't, right? Because of all the other barriers. Well, now those barriers are obliterated, right? So it's the same 12 months, but you get to choose what you're going to do with it and how you get found over your competitors. Now, here are some numbers of what it cost, what it used to cost to have a real show. You had a producer, typically $3,000 a month. That's actually on the low end. A video editor, $2,000. Clips, a shorts editor, another $1,000. Studio space could be from $300 to $1,000, sometimes $5,000 for studio space. It just depended on what type of studio. And then a distribution VA. So you're talking $8,000 a month or more, when now it's not even $500 a month with the software. It's all true. Yes, in 2019. Angie and I used this in 2020, and wow, it was a game changer. And right now, and this is why I'm really excited about it, this software has added so many features that we've been wanting that it's now even easier to use it. It's now got QR codes so you can promote your show easily. So before I had to go into Canva or GHL to go get my QR code and then upload. Everything is now all in one place. Lower thirds used to be, you'd have to have a specific software and you'd have to go there and create it and then upload it. Now all done in one place. And what I love is it's set it and forget it. Once you get your lower thirds on there, which is a lower third is you, your name, and your title. And I always tell clients to give me at least 3 lower thirds. One, an authority generating one, like a positioning one, something that is impressive. Maybe it's that I wrote the first 3 books on social media before anyone else, right? Maybe it's the produced 8.8 million in sales using a live stream using this software. Maybe it's Guinness Book of World Records, something. Maybe it's what, right? What is what's your impressive factor? You put that. But then the other one, a lot of people like when a dog mom or boxer mom, one of my accountant clients, that makes her personable, makes her approachable, makes it funny, makes her relatable, right? Oh, boxer mom or dog mom or girl dad or right. All those types of memes that we see on social, that's another lower third. For her, a fun and authority one is she read all 40,000 pages of the tax code, right? Very impressive. Nobody does this as an accountant. So that's impressive. And then, so it's a blend of a wow, funny, but really establishing authority. So that's a lower third. So you get all of these lower thirds set up. And then once they're done in this software, you're done. You don't have to keep doing that. You also don't have to do post-production. So another way of video editing is you film a video. I have an iPhone above my regular camera that's producing through Zoom. So I'm able to produce social media content at the same time I'm Zooming. So I'd highly recommend you do that anytime you're on a Zoom. Angie, you're often teaching things. All you do is you have a little side iPhone camera, either vertical for shorts or horizontal, and then you convert it into shorts and vertical with Opus. But you're basically producing two pieces of content at once. But then the problem with that formula is then you have to give it to an editor, put lower thirds, put some graphics, maybe put some captions on it. Whereas this software does it all at the same time, which I love. Now, it's not that the other way is wrong, and sometimes there is still a need for that. Right now I'm Zooming, so I'm not going to use the other piece of software. So I just have to do some post-production. It takes so long to get that done. And I will be the first to admit, I have at least dozens, not a dozen, dozens of content in my G drive that I've never done anything with because I just never got around to getting it all edited or edited the way I like. Especially if you do your own editing, by the way, you're like, oh, I didn't like the way I looked there. Oh, my face was really oily. Oh, I'm too fat. Oh, I'm too ugly. Oh, I'm too old. Like all the stuff that we all go through. Admit it, it's not just girls, it's guys too these days, right? We get self-conscious. Whereas with this software, especially if you're doing it live, boom, it's done. You publish it. You never get a chance to rewatch it. There was the grandmother matriarch on Downton Abbey. How many people saw Downton Abbey? She admitted that she never, ever watched an episode, never watched one that she was in because she didn't want to see herself on screen. And it's a big screen. So they zoom in on a lot of her wrinkles. She doesn't want to see that. So this software helps you do that. So again, all of the excuses, or what I like to say reasons, because these are valid reasons, right? Before you needed a producer, before you needed a studio, before it was, oh, well, I can't edit. Maybe you still can't edit. And it takes so long to learn it, or time or audience. All of these are obliterated. So we mentioned this before. Angie was on it, helping me produce down in Florida. We used this software and we brought in 8.8 million in sales. That's it. This platform, 2 weeks, 2-week long, 24/7. Angie would come in middle of the night, help me produce these shows. I'm like, hey, you want to do 4 more? We would do these blocks of time and no glitches. That's what impresses me the most. And people have, oh, this is a competitor to this. And what about this? And I started using them just to compare. I'm like, nope, I'm keeping this. It's the others would glitch. So I'm just so impressed with this. And again, a lot of new features. So that was, 336. I used to say that I produced for, it was like 336 squirrels because there's all these speakers. We brought in Perry. We brought in all the big names. And a lot of these people, they don't show up right on time. They show up right at the last minute, or there's glitches. Like right now today, I was like, oh my God, my camera's not working, right? And things happen and then you slide in right at the last minute. So it was 336 hours nonstop. And this software handled it. I think it handled it better than the humans handled it, right? We had people that were no-show. And thank God Angie was able to come to the rescue. There were times literally at midnight, I'm like waking up. I slept in my contacts, so I didn't have to throw glasses on, and ran into the studio to produce. But humans give us errors. Humans give us glitches. This thing, I've never seen a piece of software that doesn't glitch like this. So, all right, who you're firing today: producer, broadcast engineer, studio, editor, clips person. And yes, you still will use Opus Clip, in my opinion. All right, so we could even do this with someone if you want to volunteer. We'll talk about what you want to do to set this up and set up a show. So I'm going to pull up my comments over here. I'm going to get a sip of water, give you an opportunity. If you want to say, yeah, and this is someone who you either have some logos already, you know what your lower thirds would be. So that way people aren't waiting for you to go and look up your logo, things like that. We can do it live.
Thanks for binging on another episode of AI and Chill Podcast with your host, Coach Deb, and her inner circle of AI marketing masterminds. Remember to like this episode, share it with your business BFFs, and subscribe for the first mover advantage on the latest AI hacks with a little barbecue sauce.